Hey, how you guys doing? This is Coach E. Allen. I'm in my gym. It's Saturday. I just finished one of my last sessions in the AM. Um, I appreciate everybody who checked out my last video. I am trying to be a lot more consistent with this situation. I've currently got a little bit more time, which I needed to really kind of refocus on my priorities on this this dream that I established. It's been 15 years. I had this idea of starting this gym, and this was actually my dream of what I wanted to do. I mean, you really can't see anything but my door right now, but all this equipment and my cool little monitoring system that I use to actually record and track all my members' progress. This was my dream. But over the last, I say 5 years, I've, if you've ever had a small business or you ever been in business or work for yourself, you understand if you lose focus or you start to get complacent, things can go sideways real quick. And things have went sideways here, I can't count how many times. So, I mean, it's been a whole lot of renewal, a whole lot of changes in how I do things, a whole lot of self-doubt, a whole lot of self-inflicted pain. But the one consistent thing that has kept me going is this is where I can kind of, sometimes I can find some peace, but sometimes I can't. So, it's been a hell of a journey. But one thing that I realized that if you do not allow yourself some time to actually focus on your dream or your mission, it will turn into a nightmare and a path of destruction. If you want to look at a mission, turn it into that. But I'm in a position where I've been in business for a good amount. Things ain't perfect. I'm razor thin on my margins, like really razor thin. But the goal is to refocus my idea of what I want this gym to be over the next 6 months, and get it to where I want it to be, and refocus my attention on the thing that I decided to dedicate my whole existence to. After one failed marriage or divorce, several relationships that have all come down to, why do you still do this? Why are you still here? What the hell why do you keep like doing this gym thing and then it's not really working out? I mean, because I love what I do. I get a lot of fulfillment from what I do. I get a lot of sense of accomplishment when I do it. This is just one of the hard things is when you have a small boutique gym in this setting. There's there's somewhat of a limitation, but once you get the right people in here and you get the right people in the system that I developed over the last 15 years, it works. I have several members that are like my keystone members that I didn't expect to be my keystone members, that will have been with me well over 5 years at the end of this year. And one of them just left, and his name is Patrick. And if you follow me on, I'll put my Instagram and my Facebook link to my company down in the bio, you'll see some of my members, you know, a lot of them are over the age of 40. A lot of them have joint issues, and they really done some really cool shit within my training program. And I'm a cuss, I'm about to work out here in a minute, so I'm in that frame of mind. And I kind of pivoted my company into that direction back in 2021. I started my company in 2011, started training kids in a park here in Orlando in Lake Nona at the Y in the back. If you ever been in Lake Nona, from Lake Nona, you've been around Lake Nona, you know the Y that's connected to the school it's a field back there. I used to train kids in the park. That's how I started. After I got my certification and I was studying to finish my degree in, it was called Sports Management and Health and Wellness. Now it's called, my degree has been reclassified as Health and Performance, Bachelor's of Science in Health and Performance, I believe. So, same curriculum, same different name, same principles. But as I was studying to get my degree, and after I finished my first certification, I started training kids in the park. And my background is in football, so I started to have football camps. And I just jumped full steam ahead in it. Asked a couple of old teammates of mine to help me out, help me actually run the camp. I ran like 2 camps, and then from that I had a proof of concept that I can make money training individuals from that camp and from training people. At the time I lowered my, I shouldn't say lowered. I set my ego aside and I became a trainer at the Y here in Lake Nona. And I became a personal trainer so I can nail down a specific training method that fit my coaching style. And I'm thankful for that opportunity that I got to actually learn how to communicate with people, how to create training programs, and how to implement those training programs in a precise, meaningful manner. And it gave me opportunity to grow. I was there for almost a year and a half. And then I had the opportunity to rent a small space from a friend of mine in this same business park that I've been at and I've been here since 2014. And I may put up a video of my first day here in the old gym. So I got that space. He rented it to me for $200 a month. That's the number one rule. I started this company and I wanted to have my own brick and mortar after having 3 years of experience under my belt as a trainer. I was in the process of finishing up my degree, and my idea of what it took to actually start up a gym was very skewed because I had a low barrier opportunity to have my own space to train people without the actual plan in place to build the business in a way that was capital, where I actually put enough capital in it to where it would sustain itself, and I can actually grow it and use, the principles of marketing, accounting, legal, and basically, scaling it to where I can actually have other trainers come in here and work with me. I just wanted to train people. And give people a opportunity to experience my concepts of what I thought, what training methods I had learned during the process of getting my certification and my degree. So that was the first step. That was the first mistake that I made, but it wasn't really a mistake. It was just a lesson. It's a hard lesson that I continue to learn. And then the second thing that I made, my hands are kind of jacked up because I played ball for a minute. So I was a defensive lineman, so my hands are a conversation piece everywhere I go for the most part when people actually look at my hands. So, so me doing different things, my dexterity may be a little limited. But anyway, that is what it is. I've given a lot to this gym. I've given a lot to this company, but I haven't given enough. And every year I reassess how I approach this thing, and I may have gotten off topic of what I originally wanted to talk, when I really started talking about, which is my journey as a gym owner. The second thing that I went into this, that was a hard lesson to learn. I had a mentality of, this is gonna be an internship. So me making money, me just kind of cutting myself off as far as how much I would charge people, I had a limited frame of mind in that aspect. And that is the wrong thing to do when you don't have a W-2 and you are the main source of revenue within a company. You have to have a mentality that you are going to provide value for people. You're going to give people the utmost respect, the best experience, and the utmost respect, I mean by giving them the honest to God truth on what you believe you're worth, how you're going to approach this, how you're going to actually help them, bar none. Because what will happen is when you cut yourself off and you limit your thought process on what you're worth, and especially when you do something that you love, it puts you in a position where you look like shit, and then you start to resent the person that you're actually trying to help because they're getting pretty much a great deal, but you're getting the short end of the stick because you're not putting yourself in a position where you can sustain the relationship in the business relationship that you have with that member or that client. So that was mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, I had no system in place on how to market. And I would always, the human mind is so limited in some ways when you don't really actually get help and get people to actually mentor you. I had this idea that I sucked at marketing. That's the worst thing you can actually do as a business owner, especially in a service business where you have a service that can easily become a commodity. So your main objective is to make sure that you have a good idea of what your service is, how you're going to market it, who is your target audience, who is your avatar that you want to market to, what niche or specific area of the market do you want to actually attach your service to. That was number 3. So those are the 3 main areas where I kind of set myself up where I failed so many times. But I'm still here though. I mean, I'm still here. And I don't plan on going anywhere. I'm about to possibly sign a 3-year lease extension with a new landlord for a lot more in rent. So that's where my margins they're kind of razor thin now. But my goal is to develop some additional partnerships outside of here, develop a more robust marketing plan rather than me just posting videos on my company page. I'm gonna put a link down there for that too. And just really start to dial in on some things And I made a few gambles here and there over within the last 2 years. Really the last 4 years, I got my certification through the Titleist Performance Institute. It's TPI, it's the trained golfers. And I had an opportunity to work with a guy who was a former golf pro. He had a lot of issues cardiovascularly. He had a pacemaker. So he came to me so he could actually try to start getting stronger after doing occupational therapy and some other rehab he was doing for his heart. And he was in decent shape, but his new, it was a long story. He just had no discipline as far as his nutrition. And he was a pro golfer, and he was with me for like 6 weeks, and he told me, I'm a golfer. I was like, yeah. So he's like, a lot of the things you're doing here have helped my posture within my game. You should actually look into actually working with golfers. And I was like, well, I'll look into it. So I looked into TPI certification. It was in 2019. And this is in 2020. And I ended up looking at it, looking for the opportunity to actually get it, because it was a good amount. It was $1,000 for the certification. So, within a year and a half, I had an opportunity where I had a surplus in revenue, and I had an extra $1,000. So I spent that on the TPI certification. I dove deep into it. My main focus within this area is human movement. I've been really, really obsessed with human movement since I was in college. Really since I was in high school. I like breaking down human movement. I like assessing people's movement patterns and seeing how I can actually improve it. And that's like the foundation of my training program and my training philosophy. So with golf, if you've ever played golf, it's not just you swinging the club. And I suck at swinging these damn clubs, but I try, and I try, and I try, and I try. But all the timing and the human, the mechanisms that go into you playing golf. If you had any idea how magnificent that movement is, it is a magnificent way of seeing how the human body moves. And it's one of the best sports to focus on longevity. I am a huge proponent of, if you are in a training program, whether it's self-created or you've actually hired a personal trainer and invested in that aspect, you need a reason why you need to come into the gym. Because every day is going to suck. Every day is not going to suck, but every day is not going to be just the best day ever. It's going to suck some days. And if you don't have anything that pushes you to actually go in there outside of the aesthetic aspect, which is 80% of the people who go to gyms, you will not maintain a healthy relationship with your physical activity. It will be a seasonal, sometimes it will be based on your feelings, which is the worst thing you can do in regards to you improving your physical ability, especially as you age. So that's what actually attracted me to golf. So I decided to really dial in on that, and I'm from the world of football. Football is different than golf. There's some connections within golf. Every football player wants to be a golfer, but I don't think every golfer wants to be a football player. So after training a number of golfers, they really don't. So it's not one of their favorite ideas of what they want to do as far as their athletic to, use their athletic talent. So I saw an opportunity to actually apply my philosophy of applying your physical training or your physical habits of adding stress to your movement. I'm getting kind of nerdy with my own terminology, to a event or sport. And golf is what I would call a forever sport. You can play this as long as you're standing, as long as you can actually move around. They even have wheelchairs for golfers now. I was at the PGA show this past January, last month, and on the show floor they had a mobile golf cart for one person, where you can actually go on the course with this golf cart, and it's mobile. You can be paralyzed, and then actually the seat will stand you up. You can grab your club, have somebody, you have a caddy, you have a friend you're golfing with, and you can actually have this balance you up, and you can actually go and swing the golf club and play golf from a wheelchair. It's one of the only sports where I don't care who you are, you can develop your game, and you don't have to be the best athlete, but the best athletes play golf and get paid for it. You may not think of Tiger Woods or John Rahm as a great athlete. Those guys are great athletes, and you may not have thought of most of the Arnold Palmer as great athletes. John Daly is one. He's probably one of the best athletes that I have ever seen, and this is kind of the connection between golf and football. Some of the most athletic people in the world in the football world are fat dudes. There used to be. It's different now. It's a little bit more athletic now. When I was with the Seattle Seahawks, in training camp, Cortez Kennedy, he's a Hall of Famer. Rest in peace. He was one of the best defensive tackles in the history of the NFL. I had the opportunity to practice with him. He was one of the quickest, most athletic, fat dudes I've ever seen in my life. His first step was faster than most wide receivers, I guarantee you. I remember one time we were doing one-on-ones where you actually go, you line up, you go up against offensive linemen. He got down in his stance. He was at the defensive tackle spot. And before the guard can get out of his stance, your goal is to, if you can get your hips and close the gap and get past his hip, you pretty much got him beat, especially if he opens up. It's a short course to the ball. When I tell you, before this dude even got out of his stance, Cortez was right here. His hip was past his hips. He was gone. And then Cortez was a vet. I think at that time he was like a 6-time All-Pro. He went and sat down and grabbed a bottle of Gatorade and went and sat on the golf cart. So my point is, golf is an athletic sport. And there is a correlation where you can actually develop your body using this game to maintain some physical ability and mobility and strength, especially in your lower body, because as you age, you lose strength in your lower half. Pretty much you got one foot in the grave. If you start to lose a massive amount of strength and mobility in your lower half, you will start to deteriorate fast. So my goal is to actually apply that and use golf as a way to reach people, help them understand to become physically active, not just join the gym because you want to lose fucking 25 pounds, and then you think you look good and you're ready for the beach. No. Go in there with a plan to actually, I want to learn how to move better. I want to actually apply this to my lifestyle, because you have to apply this to your lifestyle. If you don't, you're setting yourself up for failure. And find something outside of the gym to apply it to. It can be running. I got one member who walks marathons. I have one member, he's a former Army Ranger. He just wants to maintain a good physical base of strength, because he has two sons that are in the Army. One is a Ranger and one is in Ranger school right now. And he wants to be able to do a pull-up, a chin-up. He wants to be able to do a chin-up, and he wants to remain in a place where he doesn't have any kind of physical limitations. So that's how he applies the training. That's how my other member who walks marathon, actually their husband and wife, they apply this training. I have one member, he just wants to actually, he wants to actually be able to have no issue if he wants to go out and do yard work, or carry bags of yard debris, or mulch, or bags of dog food, salt for his pool. He could pick up two 40-pound bags and carry it to his car and not throw his back out. That's what he applies his training to. And all these people, along with several others, have been with me for close to 5 years. Because my program, I'm not the smartest dude. I'm not a master trainer. I can give a fuck about a damn title, but I know enough to be effective. I know enough to help anybody move better. That's what I stand on. So this video ran a little longer than what I anticipated, but I just want to give you a little bit of a extended understanding of my journey and where I'm at this point. My goal is to try to document this process of me redesigning and reformulating my relationship with my company and my gym, which was my passion to start, and which I will always be in this setting in somewhere or another, whether it be here, whether it be somewhere else. What I do is forever going to be with me, and I'm going to always help people move better. And with that said, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to leave some links to my other channels on other social media networks down at the bottom, where I put a little bit more content up and make somebody smile today, enjoy your life, try and get out and move and enjoy this whole process of growing and improving on a daily basis. Take care.